Good evening, welcome to News Night. We're live from our studios here at Northridge in Accra. My name is Kenneth. Jesse, here are stories making headlines tonight. Local Government Committee of Parliament optimistic of resolving concerns of the Civil and Local Government Staff Association of Ghana after a crunch meeting with the association earlier today. We'll tell you more. The Electricity Company of Ghana proposes a 148% increase in electricity tariff covering 2019 to 2022. The Ghana Road Transport Coordinating Council urges commuters and private transport operators to disregard a purported 20% increment in fares. Anti-government demonstrators set fire to home of Sri Lankan minister as the country's political tension heightens. Details coming up shortly. Stay with us. Welcome to the program. The Local Government Committee of Parliament has expressed optimism about resolving the concerns of members of CLOCSAG after a meeting it had with the association on Monday. This was after members of the committee met with the leadership of CLOCSAG, which is in a third week of its sit-down strike.
Timelines for submitting the payment plan elapsed more than a week ago, with the government yet to return to the negotiation table. Parliament is the latest institution to intervene to convince CLOCSAG to call off its strike. Addressing the media after the meeting, the ranking member on the Local Government Committee in Parliament, Edwin Neelante van der Poy, says he is confident the striking members will soon return to work. According to him, the committee will be meeting government to hear their side of the issue.
We've taken this decision. Our colleagues on the Employment and Labour Relations Committee are in Koforidua. When they come back, our clerks are going to confer with their clerk, and then we'll move on the next line of action. That's meeting the other stakeholders, as my colleague just said. We have to meet with the Ministry of Finance, we have to meet with the Ministry of Labour Relations, we have to meet with the Fair Wages Commission. And then from there, all of us can now make a comprehensive statement on resolving this impasse. For now, we cannot go into details into what we have discussed with CLOCSAG, because we have to get to the other side of the issue so that we can now make an informed position on what the issues really are.
On his part, the Vice Chairman of the Local Government Committee of Parliament, Suleiman Adamu Sanid, disclosed that the impact of the strike was biting hard on the work of parliamentarians.
The situation is really bad when virtually every assembly, every MP is affected. There are so many things that we are trying to process that we cannot do. Just like you said, you've been a victim. And I believe a number of people who do not even have the voice to say it have all been frustrated by this strike. The positive thing is that, in fact, they made a statement, and it's very, very encouraging, that what they are looking for, and in fact, when we even interrogated the issue, it looks like some action is even underway. So if it goes through, I'm sure it will be resolved in no time.
The 3-week industrial action has left many citizens seeking government services stranded. CLOCSAG insists the industrial action will only be called off when government is firm on its promise to pay the neutrality allowance.
Well, let's say a bit more on this particular issue, because the Ghana Road Transport Coordinating Council is urging commuters and private transport operators to disregard a purported 20% increment in fares. The council, in a statement, said stakeholders are yet to conclude meetings on a possible increment, has urged commuters to stick to the old fares. Let's go to our video wall and read to you excerpts of that statement. And it says, the Ghana Road Coordinating Council wished to inform the general public, commuters and drivers in particular, to disregard the purported transport increase fare of 20%. We wish to state that transport fares has always been negotiated for and on behalf of all operators by the Ghana Road Transport Coordinating Council and the Private Road Transport Union. No single union, it continues, and no single union or group have the capacity to determine the quantum of increase except the two bodies mentioned above. We therefore wish to inform the operator and the general public that the Transport Minister has indicated his readiness to meet with the leadership of the GRTCC on Wednesday, 11th May 2022, to commence discussion on our proposal for fare increase. We want to reiterate that the GRTCC and the GPRTU have not divorced from standing protocols for fare increment. It is therefore unjustified for any group of persons to stampede the process to announce fare increase without reference to the standing protocols. We wish to advise the public to disregard any increase and the drivers to desist from charging any new fare as we continue with the discussion on the appropriate adjustment, which will be signaled by the representative of the GRTCC and the GPRTU and communicated to the public. Signed, Emmanuel Ohene Yeboah. And some private transport operators in Accra have increased their fares by at least 20%. Our checks from some bus terminals reveal that while some drivers are charging extra fares, others are staying hopeful, awaiting further engagements to effect any change. Shadrach Odamejare has the rest of the story.
The Ghana Private Road Transport Union in the first week of May 2022 hinted of the union's intention to adjust transportation fares upward by 30% effective Friday, May 13. A similar directive was issued by the Concerned Drivers Association to increase transport fares by 20% from Saturday, May 5, 2022. Our checks at some transport stations in and around Circle revealed that drivers under the GPRTU are yet to increase their fares.
What to say, Crofasha, say atu?
Yeah, it's a bit to me.
Now, we didn't know what they are unto.
Oh, Peniformoka.
Leadership of the GPRTU have not given us the green light to increase transport fares.
Into what union by Ankasasi?
GPRTU.
GPRTU for the moment to Mudim.
Some citizens shared their varied experiences after using commercial transport on Monday, May 9, 2022.
Transportation fare no assistant?
No, it's the same thing.
Now what you are saying?
From Kaswa to La Paz is 6 cities, and then from that place to from La Paz to 37 is 4 cities, 30 pesos, and then from 37 to this place is 3 cities.
So there's no changes.
No changes.
I don't know 5 cities, but I don't pay almost conference almost just 6 cities, but. You know,
en route circle, there was an argument in a vehicle. The driver had wanted to charge an extra fare of 1 cedi, but we all refused to pay.
6 cities.
5 cities now.
Back in the Metro TV newsroom, few colleagues shared their experiences while on their way to work.
Usually the fare from Achimota to Circle was 2 cedis 80 pesos, but today boarding the bus from Circle to Achimota, they took 3 cedis 50 pesos.
Achimota to Circle?
Yes.
3 cedis 50 pesos?
Yes, 3 cedis 50 pesos. Then from Circle to Mobile, here they took 2 cedis 50 pesos, which is same price they usually take.
So it changed from Circle to from Achimota to Circle, but it was the same from Circle to Mobile.
Yes.
Normally get from Kaneshi to GBC Junction, and that's 4 cedis 60 pesos.
Today coming to work, was there any increment?
Yes, I was surprised. I got to the station before I even bought the car. The mate was like, "It's 5 cedis, 50%." I was like, well, from 4 cedis, 4 cedis, 60%, you just jump straight to 5 cedis, 50%, and we had no option than to pay because.
Let's go back again to our video wall and take a look at how much various transport operators are charging depending on your destination. It will soon be projected here. Good. So from Abeka to Accra, the old fare was 3 cedis, 70 pesos. The new fare is 4 cedis, 44 pesos. And new approved is 4 cedis, 50 pesos. From Abeka to La Paz used to be 3 cedis, 33 pesos. The new fares is 3 cedis, 96 pesos. And new approved fares is 4 Ghana cedis. From Abeka to Alajo used to be 2 cedis, 70 pesos. The new fares, you're going to have to pay 3 Ghana cedis, 34 pesos. And the newly approved fare is 3 cedis, 50 pesos. Abeka to Caprice, you used to pay 2 Ghana cedis, 70 pesos. And the new fares, you're going to pay 3 cedis, 34 pesos. But the newly approved fares are going to charge you 3 Ghana cedis, 50 pesos. From Abeka to Abeka Junction used to be 2 Ghana cedis. With a new fare, they are now charging 2 Ghana cedis, 40 pesos. But with a new approved fare, you're going to be paying 2 Ghana cedis, 50 pesos. From Abeka to La Paz used to be 1 cedi, 60 pesos. With the new fares, they are now charging 1 cedi, 92 pesos. But with a newly approved one, you're going to pay 2 Ghana cedis. From Abeka Junction to Accra used to be 3 Ghana cedis. With the new fares, they are now charging 3 Ghana cedis, 96 pesos. But with a newly approved fare, you're going to have to be paying 3 Ghana cedis, 60 pesos. From Abeka Junction to Circle used to be 3 Ghana cedis, 30 pesos. With the new fares, they are now charging 2 Ghana cedis, 76 pesos. But the newly approved fare says they should charge 2 Ghana cedis, 80 pesos. From Abeka Junction to Alajo used to be 1 Ghana cedi, 70 pesos. With the new fares, they are charging 2 Ghana cedis, 4 pesos. But with the newly approved fare, you're going to have to pay 2 Ghana cedis. From Alajo to Accra used to be 3 Ghana cedis. With the new fares, you're going to have to pay 3 Ghana cedis, 96 pesos. But with the newly approved fare, you will be charged 3 Ghana cedis, 60 pesos. From Alajo to Circle used to be 3 Ghana cedis, 30 pesos. With the new fares, you're going to have to pay 2 Ghana cedis, 76 pesos. And with the newly approved fare, you'll be charged 2 Ghana cedis, 80 pesos. So there you have it on your screen there. Let's move on to other stories. I understand another one is here. Caprice to Accra, you have to pay 2 Ghana cedis, 40 pesos with the old fare. With the new fare, you're going to pay 3 Ghana cedis, 50 pesos. And with the newly approved fare, you're paying 3 Ghana cedis, 50 pesos. From Caprice to Circle, used to be 1 Ghana cedi, 80 pesos. The new fare is charging 3 Ghana cedis, 16 pesos. But with a newly approved fare, you are supposed to pay 2 Ghana cedis, 20 pesos. Circle to Accra used to charge 2 Ghana cedis, 30 pesos. The new fare is charging 2 Ghana cedis, 76 pesos. But with a newly approved fare, you're going to have to pay 2 Ghana cedis, 80 pesos. From La Paz to Accra used to be 4 Ghana cedis. With the new fare, they are charging 4 Ghana cedis, 80 pesos. And the newly approved fare is also 4 Ghana cedis, 80 pesos. From La Paz to Circle used to be 3 Ghana cedis, 70 pesos. With the new fares, you paid 4 Ghana cedis, 44 pesos. And with the newly approved fare, you're paying 4 Ghana cedis, 50 pesos. From La Paz to Alajo used to be 3 Ghana cedis. With the new fares, you're expected to pay 3 Ghana cedis, 60 pesos. And with the newly approved fare, you're paying 3 Ghana cedis, 60 pesos. Same thing for La Paz to Caprice, which used to be 3 Ghana cedis. They're charging 3 Ghana cedis, 60 pesos now. But with the new fare, you are also obliged to pay 3 Ghana cedis, 60 pesos. Away from transport, Ghana placed 8th in the ranking of the richest countries on the African continent. The ranking put together by World Population Review indicates that Ghana's economy as at the end of 2021 was valued at $74.26 billion. A
few steps above Cote d'Ivoire and Angola, whose economies were valued at $70.99 billion and $66.47 billion respectively. Ivory Coast and Angola ranked 9th and 10th richest countries on the continent behind Ghana. With an economy valued at 514 billion Ghana cedis, Nigeria is the richest country on the African continent according to the ranking. Meanwhile, with Ghana's GDP valued at $72 billion and a total population of over 31 million, Ghana's current per capita income stands at $2,322. Some economists and development experts argue that the GDP per capita is more important than the GDP itself because it reflects how much of a country's overall wealth actually trickles down to everyone. Following Nigeria, in the second and third places were Egypt and South Africa with a total GDP of $394 billion and $329 billion.
Interesting report there, but let's go back again to our video wall and take a look at what is contained in the report and the countries that were captured in this report. So we have Nigeria, which is Africa's most populous nation with a GDP of $514.05 billion. Egypt follows with $394.28 billion. We have South Africa, which has $329.53 billion. Algeria follows in 4th place with $151.46 billion. Morocco follows in 5th place with $124 billion. In 6th place, we have a rep from East Africa in the shape of Kenya, which has $106.04 billion. Another East African country in Ethiopia is represented there with $93.97 billion. Then comes Ghana, which has $74.26 billion in 8th position. La Côte d'Ivoire, our neighbors, have $70.99 billion. Angola is in 10th place with $66.49 billion. Let's get on to Zoom and speak with Tamsanka Nzu. He is an international journalist. Tamsanka, good evening. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Kenny.
Right. Let's bring you to our country, Ghana. We've been ranked as the 8th richest country, and we're going through some economic hardship. How did you receive this particular report?
Well, we have reviewed most of these reports over many years, especially those that work within the business industry and report on activities there, and also looking at how governments will respond to these, whether the policies that they were putting in place are working. Most of those countries, when you look, Ghana is an administration, it's in its second term. The same with Nigeria. South Africa, probably you might say that because Cyril Ramaphosa is from the ruling ANC, which has been in charge of government since 1994. Algeria, there hasn't been any change as well. Egypt, you are talking about LCC, who has been there. So most of these, or Kenyatta in Kenya, and even in Ethiopia, it's more or less the same administration. So most of these countries, when you look, even when you look at Cote d'Ivoire, you've got Ouattara, who's been there. Most of them are countries that have had administrations that have been running these economies and then took them through the COVID pandemic break, and would like to encourage as much money being put into the recovery of these economies as possible. And GDP is seen as an indicator of whether that is working or not. Can I?
Let's talk about the #1 country, Nigeria. Nigeria is also the poverty capital in Africa. There are more poor people in Nigeria than anywhere in Africa. And if you take us around the world also, they only follow India when it comes to the number of people who are poor. And here they are being ranked #1. How does this really translate into monetary terms?
I think there are two things. I wouldn't say that about Nigeria. Nigeria is a very diversified country. It's also got a massive population. The people in the north, mostly those Hausa-speaking people, Muslim people, their lifestyles are very different from those that are mostly in the south, where the oil, is mostly found. So generally, you are defining poverty and probably these indices, the GDP and others, of using what we call Eurocentric indices that have been used to measure economies. But economies in Africa don't work like that.
Right.
Kenneth, I will tell you that if I have a friend in Kumasi who is walking barefoot, going to school, that is not poverty from a village point of view. But if you say that to an American, they will say, oh, somebody walking around with no shoes, then that basically means they can't afford. That's not how you define it. So I think we need to come up with a different way of measuring whether someone is poor or not in Africa. And I wouldn't say that necessarily about Nigeria. Nigeria has massive wealth, culturally, economically, and otherwise. And I think a value can be derived from that.
Okay, let's talk about South Africa. Not long ago, it used to be the richest country in Africa. Now it's in 3rd place. What happened?
There are two things happening in South Africa. The first is when you break down those figures, those GDP figures, you look at manufacturing, you look at the agriculture, you look at other areas, especially the logistics one, with Durban providing most of Africa north of the Limpopo, especially going through Zimbabwe.
Right.
There is so much activity that has been disrupted, but there are also a lot of South Africans, mainly white South Africans, who are worried about politics, who are taking their money out of South Africa. So those are the two issues I think that we have to look at, especially if they are linked to the COVID-19 lockdowns.
Okay, let's narrow it down to the regional blocks. We have 3 countries from North Africa and also 3 countries from West Africa in the list. What does this say about these 2 blocks?
West Africa, mainly, you are looking at countries that have got massive populations. You are not seeing more of countries like Gabon, Cameroon, those that have massive, oil reserves. But also, when you look at the populations that they have, the economies that they've been running, I think it reflects on what is captured by this. And I keep going back, Kenneth, to we need to come up in Africa with indices that actually measure the people's lives and experiences. Because most of what we see from the GDP, even if you say per capita, you should have Mauritius in there because it's all different. But in North Africa, the administrations there are different. They make use of their resources. The Libyan model, but more or less being run by Algeria and Egypt. Egypt is expanding infrastructure-wise a lot, but they are using the money that they are getting into and putting it into the infrastructure projects.
Right. Tamsankazu, always a pleasure having you on our show. Thank you very much for speaking to us. You're still watching Newsnight here on Metro Television. Go for a quick break. We'll be back with more. Welcome back to Newsnight. Security agencies in Ghana are being fingered for Ghana's low ranking in the 2022 World Press Freedom Index. Some Ghanaians have also suggested that these attacks could dwindle if journalists are more circumspect in their reportage. This is Ghana's lowest ever ranking in almost 2 decades, after it ranked 66th and 67th in 2005 and 2002, respectively. The report by Reporters Without Borders said, although the country is considered a regional leader in democratic stability, journalists have experienced growing pressures in recent years. Right, so let's now speak to security analyst Adib Sani on this particular subject. Mr. Adib, good evening. Welcome to the show. Can we
Good evening, my brother.
say that security agencies are to blame for Ghana's low ranking? Looking at the recent incidents that we've seen, security personnel arresting journalists and activists, where people have said that there's a bit of a political interference.
We cannot say they are singularly responsible for our poor showing, but it is an incontrovertible fact that they are part of the problem. In recent times, like you rightly mentioned, we've had a number of reported cases where security personnel assault not just ordinary private citizens, but even journalists. A clear case in point is the one that happened in I think the Western region not too long ago. Some officers were there with a suspect at a chop bar to eat, with a suspect in cuffs. So the journalistic instinct kicked in, and the gentleman took his phone and started recording, and he was brutalized. We can talk about Latif. We can talk about Ahmed Swale's killing, obviously because of the work he's done. We can talk about the Ijura incidents and the number of Ghanaians who have been killed without any justice served. We can also talk about those young Zongo boys who were killed somewhere around Kumasi, and they claimed they were robbers, only for us to realize that no, indeed, they are not robbers. And the biggest issue is also got to do with the cycle of impunity, with a lot of this happening and nobody held into account. So definitely, this would come under the radar of everybody, including international organizations. And I must say, it's part of the reason we have performed so abysmally.
One of the most striking things to pick out from that ranking is that Burkina Faso, which recently experienced a coup, is actually ranked higher when it comes to press freedom than Ghana.
I mean, that is an indictment, to say the least. Okay? But let's not forget that we seem to have more attacks against journalists than recorded in Burkina, even though a military regime is in place. I'm not sure Burkina has closed radio stations, the government. But in Ghana, we had a democratically elected government closing radio stations. And journalists arrested under very, fictitious, funny circumstances. And all of this is what is amounting to us not giving up a good show in the rankings. And I must say, it's such an indictment on our part for Burkina to be ahead of us on this occasion.
Government... I've been told by my producer that we've run out of time, but thank you very much for speaking to us this evening. Adib Sani, he's a security analyst there. You're still watching Newsnight here on Metro Television. Remember, you can follow us live on Facebook at Metro TV Ghana and also on Twitter at Metro TV GH. What do you think of the stories we've brought to you so far? You can share your comments, tweet at us on our social media handles. To another story, as the Electricity Company of Ghana has proposed a 148% increase in electricity tariff to cover the period between 2019 and 2022. A proposal from the power distributor submitted to the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission.
A proposal from the power distributor submitted to the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission wants the adjustments to cover the period 2019 and 2022. The Electricity Company of Ghana has subsequently proposed an average increase of 7.6% in tariff over the next 4 years to cover distribution service charges. If government fails to subsidize electricity tariff, consumers could pay an astronomical increment in light bills from August 2022 as the Electricity Company of Ghana demands a 148% increase in tariff. The Electricity Company of Ghana attributed the high increase in the distribution service charges to the gap that has developed over the years between the actual cost recovery tariff and the PURC approved tariffs, as well as the cost of completed projects. It also mentioned the continual application of the prevailing tariff beyond the stipulated regulatory period is as a result of the effect of macroeconomic factors such as inflation and exchange rate fluctuation. The power distributor again pointed out that its financial sustainability is important as its impact on the entire energy sector. Per ECG's proposal, the financial sustainability of the company is important and impact on the entire energy sector.
More management at the Executive Office of the Ghana Grid Company, Gridco, Emmanuel Asantijan, says there is enough capacity on the national grid to meet the demands of consumers. According to him, the May 7 power outage almost nationwide does not mean Ghana is moving to power fluctuation, popularly known as Dumso.
On May 7, 2022, parts of the country experienced power outages, leaving Ghanaians to wonder whether Dumso had returned.
I don't want to wait like 30 minutes with see if the light will come, but if not come, the actual light will go. He pay me rough.
You see, it's very bad for us to pay light bill. In fact, see, what we are paying to ECG is very huge, and they don't have to do that.
In view of this, Gridco issued a statement to explain what had happened. According to Gridco, it was because of an unstable Takoradi Extension Winneba line. This, they said, caused forced outage within the coastal corridor of the national grid, which led to power supply interruption in some parts of Greater Accra, western and central, middle and north part of the country. Speaking with the executive officer of the Ghana Grid Company Limited, Gridco, Emmanuel Asantijan, said this does not signify the return of power fluctuation, popularly known as Dumso.
We are not getting to that point. It's just a technical issue in the network that occurred on Saturday. As you know, we are working with machines and once in a while, we do the maintenance very well. Once in a while, we get some of these issues. So it's not about Dumso, it's just a technical issue that unfortunately occurred on Saturday, and we have to quickly respond. So you will note that it's been a long time since we had this large-scale outage in this country. What it means is that we are very much on top of our maintenance and operations. Every equipment, we have a program of maintenance for every equipment in Gridco, and it's a program that we follow to the letter. We leave nothing to chance.
He further added that Gridco has enough capacity to supply in Ghana.
As we speak, we have more than enough to supply every Ghanaian in this country.
Gridco has assured the public it will continue to work towards providing a reliable power supply system for the country's socio-economic development.
Away from power, some educationists have buttressed comments made by the Asantehene Otumfuo Osei Tutu II that the free SHS policy is straining government's budget. They say although the free SHS policy is a constitutional provision, its implementation was not done right.
The free senior high school policy was introduced by the ruling government in 2017 in fulfillment of its manifesto promise. The policy seeks to give equal opportunity to junior high school graduates seeking higher education, but it has come under attack recently because of the cost involved. While addressing an audience at the University of Memphis in the United States of America as part of activities for this year's Memphis in May International Festival, the Asantehene Otumfuo Osei Tutu II said the free senior high school policy, although good, was a burden on government finances.
Now the current government has introduced free education up to senior high school, which now ensures that all Ghanaian children from whatever background are guaranteed free education. Considering the value of education to the nation, this must be one of the boldest policies of the nation. But it also brings us challenges. It puts a huge strain on the national budget and raises further challenge about the creation of jobs for the increasing number of graduates.
Ranking member on Parliament Education Committee and Member of Parliament for Akachi North, Peter Nochu, agrees with the revered king.
the challenges we are facing, which is a toll on the public purse, as the Otompo said, is true. This is because there are a number of things under the free senior high school which should have been free. We said that the feeding aspect of the free senior high school shouldn't have been free, because that is where the largest cost is.
Meanwhile, economist Daniel Lenim is of the view that although the free senior high school policy comes with a cost, the quality of education should not be overlooked.
The cost of free SHS is gradually increasing, but I still believe that the free SHS policy, to me, is a very progressive policy. What ought to be done is finding an innovative way of funding the free SHS without curtailing or compromising quality. To me, that is very key and critical.
Peter Nochu is therefore calling for a review of the flagship program.
Of the program, which some people are misinterpreted to mean cancer. So we need to review it. What are the things that are to be free, which are not to be free? You see, so it is true, the cost is very high, because in the budget you have about 1.5 billion to 2 billion a year.
The economist also gave some recommendations.
What I would recommend is that, if you recall, during the peak of the COVID-19, we introduced COVID-19 levy, that is 1%. I will recommend that now that, by God's grace, the pandemic is getting out of the system, we could take maybe, if not all the 1%, maybe about 0.8% of that particular proceed to fund the free SHS.
We'll be back from the break with more. Stay with us. Welcome back from the break. It's now time for business, and Winston Taki is already here with the latest. Winston, take us away.
All right. In business, I'll bring you the latest update from the Bank of Ghana and also some development on the electronic transaction levy right after this. To a first business story. The Bank of Ghana's Monetary Policy Committee is expected to commence its 106th and third meeting on this year in a bid to review economic development in the country.
According to a statement issued by the Central Bank, the scheduled meetings will take place from Wednesday, May 18 to Friday, May 20. The Central Bank will subsequently update the press on its decisions on May 23, 2022. Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, who is also chairperson of the Monetary Policy Committee, is expected to make decisions that will influence the cost of credit in the country for the next 3 months of the year. It will also entail the initiation of proposals for the formulation of the central bank's policies, provision of statistical data, and economic advice. Meanwhile, at its 105th MPC meeting, Dr. Ernest Addison announced a hike in the monetary policy rate to 17% from an earlier 14.5% to deal with the current economic conditions, which include fiscal pressures, inflation, exchange rates, volatility, among others.
Now, the acting executive director of GREDA, Samuel Amegayibo, says the real estate industry has developed, and therefore individuals who desire to purchase or own a home should engage the services of a valuer in order to ascertain the actual cost of the property. This comes in the face of estate owners overpricing properties on the market.
Property today, and the next morning you are hot, and that one is not sustainable. Yes. You need to evaluate yourself and find out what is your affordability. And that comes to purchasing power. Then you also, after determining the purchasing power, you have to look at competing factors. What are the other things that you need? Either you are taking this decision alone or you are taking this decision with your family. there may be other competing factors that you need to look at before you take that decision.
Now, the Chief Executive Officer of the Telecommunications Chamber, Ken Ashigbe, says that SIM cards of fraudsters posing as officials of the Ghana Revenue Authority or charging entities to help refund unlawful e-levy charges will be blocked.
Last year, the parliamentary debate on the e-levy ended with punches being thrown. Such was the level of disagreement. The law was eventually passed, but only after opposition MPs staged a walkout. Banks are far and few between in rural areas of the country, and mobile payments are seen as low-cost, safe and efficient alternative to either a bank account or holding large amounts of cash. As a result, nearly 40% of Ghanaians aged 15 and above use mobile money platforms. There are already signs that people are turning their backs on electronic payments. The central bank has reported that the industry lost over $1 billion in the 2 months from last November as consumers started using cash ahead of the tax coming into force. The government has been trying to build a digital economy in recent years to reduce the use of physical cash.
Now, on the interbank board today, the Ghana cedi is trading against the dollar at a selling price of 7 cedis 11 pesos and against the pound sterling at 8 cedis 22 pesos. On the commodities market, the crude oil made gains to sell at $107. Up next, Forex and commodities market. That'll be all for business here on Newsnight. My name is Winston Taki. Back to Ken for the rest of the bulletin. Ken?
Thank you very much, Winston. We'll be back from the break with the latest in sports with Phil John Corte. Stay with us.
Welcome back from the break. My name is Phil John Corte, and it's time for sports. A ceremony to mark the 21st anniversary of the infamous stadium disaster has been held at the Accra Sports Stadium. The Director General of the National Sports Authority, Professor Patrick Chumesi, described it as unfortunate.
About 127 of them. I would have wished to welcome you to celebrate the medals or trophies won by our teams, like House of Folk, trophies won at the continental level by the Kotoko or other federations. Unfortunately, this is not so. Today is a very sad moment. When it gets to this point, in fact, all of us speak with some shakes in our muscles. And I think you can feel it here. Because every one of them who were mentioned this morning, you realize that comes from a particular community. So it's about Ghana. When this particular day happened, it was a doomsday for the nation. It traveled across the whole continent of Africa. And I think for now, it has been even the West across the globe. And that is why we speak the word never again. Never, ever again.
But considering what I learned this morning, with in a match, I think the first division competition at Insua Trail or so, I don't think we have fully learned our lessons. But at the Premiership, I think some lessons have been learned, but there's more to do with regards to violence at our stadia, and then with regards to the construction of our stadia, particularly health and safety, and then with regard to crowd management by our police. I pray that all these things roll in one. We will work very hard as a country on some of this.
And let's go to Nigeria now and focus on the WAFO Zone B Football Championship. Ghana lost their open match against Nigeria. Remember, the Black Satellites are the defending champions. KMZ to say that it's rather unfortunate that they lost the game, but they will make amends.
Now, the preparation is after this match with now okay. Now we have to prepare ourselves towards Burkina. And Burkina, they will also play away. But that will be our preparation period. Now, Nigeria, we use Nigeria to prepare ourselves now. We've seen it. They've seen it before us. So now, as I said, we are going to use the next match to make amendments. Because now we've tasted or adopted the weather, how it is when we are playing. You saw it yourself. You were there in Ghana. They were very, very mobile. But they couldn't run here. It is all due to the adaptation of the climate. As I told you, there are factors that affect performance, and one of it is weather. So that was what happened to us today.
And they need to stop this fella, and he shoots, and it's a brilliant goal by the substitute, it looks like. Yes, he's coming to do his job, Abdullah.
That was how the defending champions of the WAFO Zone B Under-20 Championship, Nana, lost to Nigeria by 2-0 in their open match. That's your sports. My name is Phil John Quartis. Here is standing by for the latest in showbiz.
Thank you, Phil. It's time for entertainment news. My name is Osiodua Akumia. Now, on the Mother's Day edition of Butterfly Show on Original TV, the show took place at AH Hotel. Now, as part of celebrating mothers, a guest on the show, Mary Ando, who is a single mother of 4, was helped with an amount of money after the host, Ahenawa Inti, led a fundraiser. Now, Mary also earned 5-year scholarship for one of her children.
Forget you for the suffering you suffer for me. But Abraboni denye is my femupa. Bema mene we no anshem kwala. No jam kwala no gumi so. Nti ama me bre wa brabom. Sana mehwe kwala no kra because komanu ma didie kra ayeka. Even baby I dey tibeto kra enye easy. Easy. Enti ama me bre wa brabom. Me bre pa. Omu bie school a omu nya mo school fees na omu books na ma bre.
5,000 we say oh. And they can create they can want my way. Don't go and waste it, please. It can go a long way for you. I don't want to see you begging. I don't want I bet people I can me baba me cancel. Enti me dem me come be a trend because we na man san babium. Enti mami, that's the we say no. Me baby, me am my business plan. It's a good see I read it, me do. I don't know why, my fine, no going, my fine, I gotta was doing it.
Now, at the just ended 23rd edition of the Vodafone Ghana Music Awards, Afro roots singer Rocky Dawini was asked by Metro News his thoughts on reggae music in Ghana currently, and he stated that all artists inspired by reggae music are making the headway.
When you look at Ghanaian music as it's being expressed on the international scene right now, it is Ghanaian artists who are being inspired by reggae music and adding elements of it that are actually making the headway. You know, so you just have to look at the various artists and even see our ability to not only impact the world, you know, but you know, when it comes to BET, when it comes to Grammys, when it comes to you know, touring and playing on global stages, artists who've been inspired by reggae music have done a great contribution to push Ghanaian music over, to expose it to, you know, audiences around the world, you know. So I feel that it has served as the mouthpiece of the spear or the mouthpiece of the arrow that is leading Ghanaian music into the future.
Well, that's it for entertainment news. My name is Osiodua Akumia. Kenneth?
Thank you very much, Osiodua. International news is next. Anti-government protesters have set fire to a minister's home in Sri Lanka as the island nation suffers the worst economic crisis in its history. Still photographs taken show the house owned by Minister Sanath Nashinda of resigned Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa's cabinet on fire. Rajapaksa resigned on Monday to make way for a unity government to try to find a way out of the crisis. But protesters said they also wanted his brother to stand down as president. His resignation came hours after clashes broke out in Colombo, where supporters of the ruling party stormed an anti-government protest camp and were beaten by police using tear gas and water cannon. A nationwide curfew has been imposed on top of the state of emergency that Sri Lankan government, led by its president, Gotabaya Rajapaksa. That's all for Newsnight. My name is Kenneth Jesse. Have a good night.